It seems that anime is one of God's greatest gifts to us humans because we have seen so many legendary anime shows such as Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Cowboy Bebop, One Piece, and Naruto, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm pretty sure the whole world has watched anime at some point in their life. I'm pretty sure every single person that is living on Earth has watched at least one episode of one anime. So when we actually take that into account, you can now actually tell that the whole world is really influenced by anime. A lot of people are influenced with anime. So that actually coincides with companies, with media franchises, with every single other form of media such as the American style animation and cartoons, or with actual live action movie franchises, man. And by me saying this, you're probably wondering, why are you talking about anime in this video? And it's because every other franchise, every other big major franchise has actually stepped their feet into anime, has actually at least tried to do anime once in that franchise's history, such as DC Comics with Batman Ninja and with Suicide Squad Isekai that just dropped this year. Even Star Wars, they even had their own anime called Star Wars Visions that, to be honest with you, I did not even know they actually released Star Wars Visions. And even Marvel has their own anime, and it's a little bit obscure, it's a little bit unknown, but yes, they have their own anime. And now the second question you're probably asking yourself is, why are you talking about these other companies in this video? The reason why I'm bringing all of these companies up is because they are known, established franchises. They are known, established media that actually deals with live action or animation. And taking this into account, knowing that a lot of these franchises who are not really familiar with producing anime type TV shows slash movies, another franchise that has actually tried to do an anime is the Lord of the Rings franchise. Specifically this year, they just dropped a movie called The Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim, and it's a prequel to the entire Lord of the Rings franchise, and every single event that happens actually happens after this movie. And since Lord of the Rings are trying to, step their toes, trying to see how the anime realm works, I actually got the experience to watch it today, and I'll be completely honest with you, I think this movie is a little bit decent in my honest opinion. I don't think it's the best thing in the world, and we actually see a lot of these animes that are made by franchises who are not used to making animes, and some of their animes are a little bit mid, like Suicide Squad Isekai. I'm pretty sure I made a video about it earlier and I said that it was good, but to be honest with you guys, when I watched more episodes that show had to offer, that show, in my honest opinion, is actually mid, man. And with Batman Ninja is pretty good, but it's not something that is must see in my honest opinion. So by me saying that, I'm just trying to point out that franchises who are not familiar with creating anime type media, they kind of always produce either it's decent, either it's mid, or it's pretty ass. But let me go back to Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings War of Rohirrim is, like I said earlier, pretty decent because this movie has some problems that I just could not overlook. And one of those problems is the animation style, because I am not even going to lie right now, some of the scenes of this movie look very great. Some of the scenes of this anime type movie, they are drawn beautifully, they look stunning in my honest opinion, but some of the character expressions that a lot of these characters have, especially Hera, a lot of these characters are just bland, and it's not due to their writing, and it's not due to how they sound when they speak. It's due to their facial expressions that whoever illustrated this entire movie, in my honest opinion, he illustrated most of the characters as bland brick walls, because there are many scenes that are actually emotional, or they are supposed to be emotional, but the characters involved, they just look like they don't give a flying fuck. And the main person that actually does this is Hera, and Hera, she's the daughter of Helm Hammerhand. But many scenes in this movie shows that Hera, her facial expressions that were drawn just did not hit. Like, the first time when Helm Hammerhand, he almost died in the movie, her facial expression, she was crying, right? So she was actually like sitting near this wall and she was crying because Helm Hammerhand, he got impaled with so many arrows and he almost died. And she did not even look like she was crying, in my honest opinion. Like, all of these characters, they have this stuck facial expression that their eyebrows are always kind of in a frowning position, but not necessarily that they're frowning. It looks like they're just bored, in my honest opinion. And when they smile, most of the times it's mostly like a smirk. It's mostly just like a little bit of a little grin, but a lot of the times they don't have real emotion. And you're probably asking yourself, why do you care about an anime and illustration showing no emotion? Well, in my honest opinion, I'm an overanalyzer and I look at those little things. But in my honest opinion, Helm Hammerhand, he has the best expressions in this movie because, in my honest opinion, I do think this movie should have revolved around Helm Hammerhand, not so much of Hera, because I think Helm Hammerhand should have been the main character of the movie, because when they drew him, many of the scenes that he was screaming at people or he was disappointed with someone, you can actually see the emotion in his face. And even when he almost died at the first time, you can see the expression in his face. And when, you know, he turned into this rabid monster, you could see his expression and he was screaming. But now let me stop rambling about what I think about how their faces look like and their expressions. Let me talk about the movie itself. And the movie starts off with Hera. She returns to the place that these people live at. And I'm just gonna do a disclaimer right now. I watched the first Lord of the Rings movie just a couple weeks ago. I think that's peak. I think that's 10 out of 10. I was about to watch the second one soon, but not at the time of me recording. So I don't know too much of the Lord of the Rings franchises, to be honest with you, because I'm a little newbie when it comes to the Lord of the Rings. So forgive me if I say the wrong things, say the wrong terms, and say the wrong names. But we see that Hera, she has returned with her brothers, and she has an older brother, I forgot his name, and she also has a younger brother, and I forgot his name as well. But the older brother, he's kind of a rash person, he's kind of a brute, while the younger brother, he's more calm and he's more collected. To be honest with you, their characters are literally the same throughout the entire movie. Their characters did not change or grow, so I won't really be talking about them. But when they now reach to Helm Hammerhand's throne, we see Helm Hammerhand is greeted by the main antagonist. At first, I thought the main antagonist will be Freka, and Freka, he has had beef with Helm Hammerhand, and when he actually enters the palace, Helm Hammerhand, he is already just on alert. Helm Hammerhand, he is already frustrated at the sight of Freka. So Freka, he comes with his son Wulf, and Freka has a proposition for Helm Hammerhand. Freka, he wants Wulf to marry Hera, but the thing is about Wulf knew Hera a long time ago. Wulf and Hera knew each other when they were children, and we now see a backstory with Wulf and Hera, and they were sparring and training with swords. But we see the scar that Wulf will have on his face, and we see how he actually gained that scar. It's because when they were sparring, Hera, she actually sliced Wulf's eye during the sparring session, and Wulf, he became enraged, but he just wanted to shoo her away before his dad Freka saw that. So that's a little bit of a backstory to who Wulf's character is. Wulf knew Hera ever since they were children. So during this encounter with Freka and Helm Hammerhand, Wulf now actually spoke up and said, this is not just my dad basically trying to arrange this marriage. He's trying to persuade Hera that he actually really wants Hera. Ever since he saw her, ever since he saw Hera, he knew that he loved her. And he told Hera that, I love you, Hera. But Hera, she curves him, she stiff arms him so bad that I'm like, damn, Wulf needed to take a hint. And throughout the movie, Wulf did not take a hint. In my honest opinion, they made Wulf a ditty, in my honest opinion, because he just did not know when someone said no. He did not take no for an answer, because during this encounter with Freka and Helm Hammerhand, Freka said something that pissed off Helm Hammerhand. Helm Hammerhand now made fun of Freka's weight. So then this now led to both of them going outside to fight each other. And when they were fighting each other, Helm Hammerhand's people did not want the fight to happen. But Helm, he is too much of an brute. He's too much of a headstrong king. So when they now fight each other, Freka got some little licks. He got some little blows on Helm Hammerhand. But Helm Hammerhand, with one blow, he used like an axe handle maneuver and just hit Freka straight in the head, and it just kills Freka in one blow. So with Wulf's case, this is probably the worst day of his life. Not only did the love of his life, his crush, curved him in front of everybody, in front of his own dad, in front of his whole people, he now witnessed his dad's death at the hands of the father of the girl that curved him. So this now pushed Wulf over the edge. This now made Wulf be so mad, and he vowed revenge on Helm Hammerhand and on everyone here. So Helm Hammerhand now banished Wulf, and he told Wulf, if you ever come back to this place, I'm gonna kill you. If you ever come back, your head will be on a spike. So when the movie now is going forward, we now see that seasons later, Wulf has not returned yet, but he will soon return because Hera and her two brothers and the nephew of Helm Hammerhand are going on a hunting thing. I forgot what they were really doing. It didn't really make sense what they were doing, but they eventually now stumble upon this beast that the nephew of Helm Hammerhand tried to take down. But during this whole encounter with this beast, we see that Hera has been separated from the group, and this was probably calculated because there were two soldiers that were under the reign of Wulf, and they now kidnap Hera. And I'm just thinking, yo, Wulf is a ditty. Wulf just cannot take no for an answer. Bro, she don't want you, bro. Now you're gonna kidnap her, bro? And then when he had his guards and his soldiers kidnap Hera, she was actually chained into his palace, and we're seeing Wulf interrogate Hera saying, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me? I love you, Hera. And I'm just thinking to myself, bro, this nigga is a simp. This nigga is not even a simp. He's a ditty, in my honest opinion, because kidnapping is crazy, bro. That is insane. But the thing that I did not understand is, how did Hera's family, they knew exactly where she was taken? I actually think that they should have let the kidnapping scene and the kidnapping part of the story be a little bit longer, like at least 10 minutes longer, so we can see the chase and the hunt to find Hera. But this kidnapping, it was actually, in my honest opinion, it was a little bit of an underwhelming scene, because just like a snap of the finger, Hera's family members knew exactly where she was. So they now had, I think it was her mom, but she felt like her mom, in my honest opinion. I'll just call her her mom. Her mom now went to free Hera, and when they now fled, Wulf now waged war on Helm Hammerhand's people. So when Hera and her family got back to Helm Hammerhand's throne, Helm Hammerhand was mad. He was like, yo, who let this happen to my daughter? So then he now put the sole blame on his nephew, and he now basically banished his nephew from ever stepping foot back here. And he told his nephew that in the future, if any children will be talking about legends, I will make sure your name will not be included in that conversation. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, he is going too far. But we now see that the war is starting because Wulf has brought his whole fleet to the location, to the palace. So Helm Hammerhand, he is not going to back down from war. So he now actually took his men to go to the war. But Hera, she wants to fight. But Helm Hammerhand tells Hera, I am here to protect you. You are my daughter. I don't want you to be at war. I want you to flee. So Helm leaves. Hera, she is thinking with the mom, and she's thinking, wait, this feels too calculated. This feels too much of a plan. And she now realizes someone from her camp, someone from Helm Hammerhand's soldiers actually betrayed Helm Hammerhand. He betrayed everybody, and he gave Wulf the drop. He gave Wulf the go. So we now see who the traitor is, and the traitor attempts to kill Hera, but Hera just basically kills the traitor with the help of a horse. So after this, Hera, she now tells the mom that, yo, we need to evacuate every single person from this village and we need to go to this location. So when that happens, we are now transported back into the war. And the war, I'll be honest with you, the war was pretty good. They had some good fight scenes. They had some good deaths in the war, and a couple of those deaths were the two brothers. And to be honest with you, the two brothers were static characters. They did not have any type of character development or character emotion. So when they died, I did not really care for their deaths. The first brother that died was the older one, and he was more of the brute. So he died when he took down this beast, and he was like cheering and he was celebrating. But then Wulf now actually caught him lacking by shooting him with an arrow straight through his neck. That was pretty crazy though, but I didn't really care about his death. But then the second brother died after the whole civilization fled, and after Wulf, he now took over that palace. And we see that Helm Hammerhand, he gets impaled with a lot of arrows. Like I said earlier in the video, Helm Hammerhand was impaled with a lot of arrows, and it was crazy. And I do think that Helm Hammerhand should have been the main character, but I'll tell you that later because I have to talk about the second brother's death. So the second brother, he was the calm brother. He was a cool, calm, and collected brother. But the way that he died, I kind of really didn't like it because we see that he was about to, you know, do a last dance, a last fight. But we now actually don't see that because it was off screen that they captured him. And when they captured him, Wulf now brought the surviving brother to the new location that Hera had the mom evacuate the whole civilization, the whole people. So we now see the second brother's death when Wulf at first was about to negotiate with Helm Hammerhand because Helm Hammerhand, he wanted to sacrifice himself to prevent Wulf from killing his children more, to prevent Wulf from killing any more of his children. But Wulf, proven to be a hater, proven to be a stalker, in my honest opinion, he now slices the second brother's neck, but it was off screen, and I was like, did they really need to make that off screen? But their deaths were forgotten, in my honest opinion. I felt more for Helm Hammerhand almost dying. I actually wanted Helm Hammerhand to survive, and luckily he survived because we now see that instead of dying, Helm Hammerhand, he gets turned into a monster of some sort. He gains superhuman strength, he gains superhuman speed, he gains durability, and this is where I start to bring my argument that I think Helm Hammerhand should have been the main protagonist of this movie, because Hera as well is a static character, because when the movie started, Hera is the same girl. By this time of the movie, we are now like 2 hours in the movie and she's still the same character. But Helm Hammerhand has went through a lot, in my honest opinion, and we see that Helm Hammerhand, he has doubts, he has mistakes, he has trials and tribulations, and we see him go through so much, we see him endure so much. But Hera has not endured anything, in my honest opinion. Hera, she is so pure and perfect, and she could do no wrong. She was never wrong in the whole movie. Every time she had a superstition, she was right. And I was like, in my honest opinion, I feel more for Helm Hammerhand. I think Helm should have been the main protagonist, and the reason why he's not the main protagonist is because when he gets his newfound power, we see him turn into a ravaged beast that he starts to slaughter Wulf's guards, because Wulf, he brought all his fleet to that location. But one of Wulf's main guards was trying to warn Wulf and trying to plead with Wulf like, look, we need to eat. You are letting us die here just because of your vendetta against Hera. We need to eat. But Wulf has never listened to this guard. Wulf proves that he is impatient and he will not listen to anybody because he hates Hera so much. He is a certified hater. He wakes up very early to make Hera's life a living hell. He is the biggest hater of this entire movie. So we now eventually see Helm Hammerhand's death, and in my honest opinion, it was a noble scene. It was a great scene, in my honest opinion. I think the greatest scene this movie had, because Helm Hammerhand, I liked his character so much. Then this is how he died. So he was fleeing with Hera, because Hera and Helm Hammerhand eventually reunited, and Helm explains to Hera that yes, I am a beast, I'm the person that was killing all of the guards, but it's too late. Wulf already sent some of his men to that location, and they were running and running, but Helm sacrificed himself by letting Hera go into the door first. And when Hera wanted Helm Hammerhand to not sacrifice himself, Helm said this good speech that he now closed the door. He turned around and he was facing many men, and he was beating up a lot of people by himself. You can see his newfound strength and newfound endurance. He was beating up so many of Wulf's guards, and this actually also plays into a new concept, a new argument that I have of Wulf's character, and that is I do not like his character. He was a coward. I understand where they were going for, but I think it would have been more impactful if Wulf was the one that killed Helm Hammerhand by himself. They should have actually made that happen, because we see Helm Hammerhand die not by any soldier, not by Wulf, not even by Wulf's prime general. Helm Hammerhand dies by the snow because it was winter. There was a big blizzard. And I think that yes, even though that was a great last scene for Helm, I think that undermines the impactful scene that could have happened if Wulf was the one that slayed Helm Hammerhand. I think Wulf should have killed him, but they made Wulf a cowardly, weird villain. And this actually bleeds into the finale of the movie, because we see that now Wulf, he wants to completely attack and annihilate every single person in that building, but Wulf's prime general is trying to talk Wulf out of it, but Wulf is not listening. He's too much of a hater, and we know that Hera is a skilled fighter. She's stronger than Wulf, so this concept of Hera being stronger than Wulf continues to the end of the movie, because Hera, she gains this bride's cloth, and she now says, okay, he wanted a bride, I'll give him her bride. So she now goes into battle with Wulf, but she has a second plan, because the nephew that was outcasted earlier in the movie, Hera brings Helm Hammerhand's armor, and she uses a giant eagle to bring that armor to the nephew. So the nephew now is going to come into war with that armor, because Helm Hammerhand told Hera to give our people hope, and this is Hera's interpretation of giving people hope. So when that happens, we see the battle with Hera and Wulf, and man, this battle was underwhelming in my honest opinion. This battle, it did not actually hit the spot that I wanted it to hit, because Wulf was getting his ass beat the whole time. I'm like, damn, Wulf is a cowardly, weird villain. They shouldn't have written him like this, in my honest opinion. And I know I'm sounding too negative, but that's just how I felt about this movie, because when we now see the nephew bring his entire fleet, we see that Wulf's fleet now starts to flee, but Wulf's main general, he wants to tell Wulf, no, you're not going to command us anymore. You are not going to do anything anymore. Wulf now kills him in cold blood, and Wulf attempts to fight Hera again, but Hera overwhelms Wulf again. And when this is happening, Hera's face is still that stone faced. I'm like, bruh, Hera, show some little emotion, show that you care, show that you are trying to kill this person or defend yourself from being killed. And that's just how most of the characters are in this movie. In my honest opinion, it's only Wulf and Helm Hammerhand that shows real emotion and shows real anger, and that's the illustrator's fault, in my honest opinion. It's unfortunate, but that's just how I think about this movie. So long story short, Wulf dies because he attempts to slice Hera, but the mom throws a shield to Hera, and Hera catches the shield and basically hits the shield into Wulf's neck, and that kills Wulf on the spot. And after the movie, we see that everything is finally being healed. All of the disgusting terror that Wulf caused upon these people are done, and we now see the actual thing that, in my honest opinion, fans wanted to see, and that is Saruman coming at the end of the movie, because like I said earlier in the video, this movie is a prequel to the Lord of the Rings franchise. And this movie, in my honest opinion, I think it was decent. They had good
decent fight scenes, but some of the animation, some of the character development, some of the choices that the directors and the story writers made for these characters, in my honest opinion, I think this movie is a 6 out of 10. And I agree with most sources that are saying that this movie is a 6 out of 10 or a 60%, man. But what do you guys think about this movie, man? I do think that since every single company and franchise media are putting their little toes and dipping their toes into anime, we are going to be seeing more franchises produce more anime type movies or TV shows, and Lord of the Rings are the most recent franchise to do that. That's the end of the video. I'm out. Peace.